What do you guys think about my new hairdo? It feels so 80s, honestly. Like, I just got this hair done, and I'm feeling so good to start this video today because this video is about how I got into 80s pop as a Gen Z. And I know this hair is more like, how would I, like, people would say it is the Korean wave, Korean perm, but to me it's like it's what you get if you are an Asian male living in the 80s as well. And to be honest with you, Korean hair is a continuation of the 80s trend, which is perming your hair and making it sort of curly. I wanted to make this video because I thought that my music preference has always been the so-called outstanding one, like as in really chances of you meeting up with somebody who is like totally into 80s pop music is like a slim 1%, because like from my experience it's like everybody's into K-pop and everybody's into like rap music, and I've always felt like, you know, I'm always the one that didn't hop into the bandwagon of like nowadays pop. And I'm making this video, and it's quite a personal video because to be honest, it boils down to my preference and the music I grew up with. So let me just take you through how I got into 80s pop. When I was a kid, I think like a few months in, like when I was born, like a few months in, I was already listening to some music because I happened to be in my father's car, and whenever I ride his car, he would be playing 80s Cantonese pop. And so I grew up listening to 80s Cantonese pop, mainly like alantam, which he's like an absolute fan of alantam. Like, I kid you not. Hold on. This is a tough one to take out. Oh my goodness. Like just look at this. He's got like all his DVDs in here. Like, if I were to, and by the way, this is how you take it out, right? With this thing. But you kind of don't have space because it's like filled to the brim. This is the amount of DVDs. This is how you open it, right? And then you see all this tray. Oh my lord. And let's just take it out. So first one over here. What is this? I haven't really seen him like play this on a DVD player, because I think when I was born in the early 2000s. I think that DVD players, like, I think the car he drove me on, like obviously now it's not the same, but like back then they had DVD players on the cars. But I didn't really see the album cover. I mean, I was that young. I mean, it's already inside the car. The DVD is already inside the car. Let's just see what else. Like, if I just pick out the middle one. Another one of alantam's. Right. What else? Let me look. The next one. Katie Dennis? I didn't even know this existed. Okay, is Katie Dennis even in the 80s? I don't even know who she is until I pick this up. Okay, but anyway, let's look at the one at the last. It's tough to take out the DVDs, and it's so dusty, honestly. I didn't clean this up, okay, but I'm treating it with care, like proper care. Oh my god, it's tough to take it out. Wait, should I take it out? Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna leave it because this is like years of, it came from the 80s, okay? It came from the 80s. I'm just gonna put it back where it belongs. Yes, I did start off listening to 80s Cantonese pop, so not only alantam but like quite a few, like Beyond and you name it, like anitamui and all that. And I think that a lot of my music preference really came from that because I grew up with that music, right? But unlike Gen Zs, I really didn't start off with like nowadays music. Like, I was really all of my music started off with 80s Cantonese pop. And then when I moved on to primary school, which is probably when I'm between 9 to 12 years old, like upper primary, I think I get to like listen or get a taste of nowadays music as in the early 2000s, right? And because people in my class were listening to like the songs in the 2000s and they're singing it in class, and I think I heard a bit of like, you know, Lady Gaga's Bad Romance and, you know, Calvin Harris' Summer and One Republic song. When I first got my first and second phone, I think my first phone was actually a Nokia phone, which is like the apps are like Windows squared. It's so like not optimized. Because there are people like using Samsung back then already, and they have those like Samsung's icon is like a nice box, right? But like Microsoft, like Nokia's one is like a square like Microsoft apps, and it was so badly optimized. So I think I got it on my second phone. My second phone, I was able to, you know, I got a Samsung phone. That's great, and I was able to start listening on my own, start listening to songs on my own, and you know, all the songs really came from YouTube. So thanks to YouTube for recommending to me all those songs. But at this point, I think I really wanted to listen to the nowadays pop, which is the 2000s pop, because you know, like you know your friends are listening to it, you know people in your class are listening to it. Why are you not listening to it? So I got onto my phone and I started listening to some songs, and I think in 2014, actually 2014 was before I got my phone. Like I think I was like primary 1, and then this movie, this 2014's Sorcerer's Apprentice came out. And then this wonderful song came out from One Republic, Secrets. Tell me what you want. And I remember I love the music so much that I you know, try to sing it to my friend, but obviously I don't even know the lyrics to it because I was just listening it from like my mom's phone, or you know, it's just that I don't have that, you know, it's not like it's in my pocket all the time. Like my phone and my TV is like only I can access it at certain places. So like the TV would be in the living room, and then the phone would be from my mom, and only I get it from my mom. I can't just like Google it like immediately. Like right now I know this is a mouse, but right now I have a phone, I can Google it. Nah, that was not happening back then. So so fast forward to primary 5, I got my second phone, I think the Samsung one. We're just going to refer it to the Samsung phone, and I got it, and then I started listening to music on my own, and I listened to mainly Maroon 5 and One Direction. And Maroon 5, I love the music Sugar. Like it was a huge banger back then, and One Direction was also a huge banger back then. Like the songs "What Makes You Beautiful." You're insecure. I know it started in 2012, but I think I was able to fully listen to it. I got my phone because obviously I can access it at any time, right? So I started to listen to One Direction. I know all those like huge hits like "Drag Me Down," "Down," "History." Time to put one day out of its misery. And the best song ever. I think I should look more Jewish. And you know, I kind of became a super big fan. Not gonna say that I'm like the biggest fan, because obviously I just listen to their music. I don't really know like, you know, like Harry Styles, when his birthday is and all that kind of thing. It's more like I can listen to the music, and I really, really like the music. I enjoyed the music back then. And so, in 2016, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out,
take those headphones off right now!
I managed to watch it a second time because my dad got a DVD of the movie, and then we watched it at home. And then when it reached to the end credits, which you saw Groot dancing to like one of Jackson's 5 music. And at that time I still don't know who is singing it, and I'm not even sensitive to music back then, so it was like my dad just suddenly pointed out like, do you know who is that? I'm like, who's what? He's like, do you know who's singing that song? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's like, you don't know? My dad was like so shocked. He was thinking like, how do you not know all these things? And I'm like, am I supposed to know that? Like, because my dad is born in like the 70s, right? And then all this 80s music come to him like naturally. But for me, it's like, I don't even know. So, so he just introduced me. He's like, that is little Michael Jackson singing I Want You Back. And he was in Jackson 5 back then. And to me, that time, it wasn't like, it wasn't surprising. Like, I don't even know who Michael Jackson is. Okay, this is a big red flag, but I really didn't know Michael Jackson back then, because I think like Gen Zs, we are just not into 80s, but like my dad is like so hopeful that I knew it, but you know, obviously I didn't really know it. But anyway, this is the point where I started to dive into the 80s pop realm. Wow. Alright, so in secondary school, when I was 13 years old, I say in primary, not primary, secondary one, YouTube, and I think PSLE when I was in primary 6, we have this PSLE, which is like a really huge exam for like primary school students. And I think between primary 6 to secondary school, secondary 1, I really was like watching YouTube like every day. Like that is like I'm just like only watching YouTube. I'm not even doing any other things like video editing or you know creating music or whatever. I'm just like all on YouTube. And then this is where the magic happens, and this is really the turning point of everything you are listening to right now. And so, you know, YouTube, I was watching on YouTube one day, and YouTube recommended me one of Bon Jovi's top hits. And that is Lean Wheel on a Prayer. And I was like extremely addicted to the song. I was like, how is this song? And I kid you not, I was like thinking, how can an 80s song be so great? Back then, I didn't really have a preference, but like when I started to listen to Bon Jovi, I was like, so good. And then I started to listen to the other songs, the top hits, like You Give Love a Bad Name, and You're Born to Be My Baby, and Run Away. And then after that, I started watching Live of Jose, and I kid you not, like 80s performers, they really surprise you. Like, they won't disappoint you at all. Like, just watch the live performances, and wow, the amount of charisma that Bon Jovi has, and his entire band is like built with so much charisma. I just don't know, you know, I didn't even see that like nowadays, like back then in the 2000s, right? I was like, this is majestic, this is unique. And I got addicted to the band. Honestly, like I was super obsessed with the drama, you know, I started to be so sensitive to every instrument that was playing in the music, because you're able to see them play the instruments on stage. And when you see that, it's like, wow, you know, music just didn't come from nowhere. They came from an instrument. That is how naive I was back then. But guess what? When you don't have the phone and internet, you kind of learn slower. I was addicted to the guitarist, the bass, and even the synthesizers. Like the guy on the synthesizers, like I love, like his voice is great. I don't want to say this, but I've forgotten his name. But damn, I mean, he's got that 80s hair, you know, like that long hair, and wow, and his voice is great as well. Like, he kind of carried Living on a Prayer all the time on live performances, not gonna lie. But that's what's happening. And I really like the guitarist. I don't remember the guitarist's name because it's great, iconic, because John Bon Jovi and Richie, right? They are like the two, you know, the two standouts of the band. Like they're the one that really carried, because they have the charisma. And I think that Richie really had the charisma on the guitar. Like literally, he gives the best rock vibes. Like whenever he just, you know, on the guitar solo, he would like shake his head like. That is crazy. Like, I haven't seen that kind of rock and energy before on stage, and he really showed me that. Like, it was just amazing. Like, amazing. And looking back, I realized that at this point I was really into 80s rock. I know I said 80s pop, but at this point I was really into 80s rock. And looking back, I think I realized that after I listened to Bon Jovi, I was like naturally swayed to like Queen's song. Like, how could you not know Queens if you listen to like 80s rock? Like, how could you not know? I started listening to some Queen song, like you name it. Bohemian Rhapsody, not really, because Bohemian Rhapsody was like the 70s, and I think I knew Bohemian Rhapsody way later. But I think I was listening to Queen's Live 8. I think Live 8 got on my recommended page. Because Live 8 is like, for Queen, it's like a banger. Like, you know, they performed the best out there, and they gave the best performance on Live 8. And I think I was able to listen. Honestly, wait, let me think now, because they actually played Bohemian Rhapsody on Live 8. But I think I was more into Radio Gaga and I Want to Break Free and Another One Bites the Dust. I think I was really into the 80s one. So maybe not, I didn't really start from Live 8, but like some of their like music videos, like 80s music videos, alright? And this is really the turning point. Like, okay, I have a lot of turning points, but this one really makes the big difference, because this really made me jump into the bandwagon of 80s pop. My attention quickly shifted to Michael Jackson. Yeah. I'm actually not sure how I came upon Michael Jackson. Like, looking back right now, until today, I still can't remember how I came upon Michael Jackson. Like, maybe from some like YouTube recommendation, but it's like Michael Jackson is so iconic, but I just don't know like how. Like, it feels so impossible to just forget how I got into Michael Jackson, like, because he's so significant in just, you know, my entire preference in 80s pop. Like, oh my goodness, like, you have no idea how he changed my music preference today. And it was amazing how his songs welcomed me into the 80s pop realm. Like, it was such a warm welcome. It's like a natural it's just natural welcome. It didn't feel forced. Like, to me, listening to the music, I like naturally like enjoyed it really. Like how? Like, I was thinking like how. So I listened to his Bad album, obviously, like Bad album, Thriller, Off the Wall, and the History album, and then, you know, obviously some of his 90s songs as well is like Black or White. Like, how could you not know Black or White? Black is white. Right? But of course, when it comes to Michael Jackson, you can't forget to watch his live performances. And his dances, choreographies. However, at this point in time, I mean, I still can't remember. I still can't remember how I got started with Michael Jackson. Like, oh my god, like how? Like I only know I learned so many of his songs. And so many of his dance moves as well. And that's why all of you saw my shots. Hopefully, if you haven't saw my dance videos, check it out. Dance shots, by the way, shows that I really knew it, but I just feel like it's such a shame. Like, I feel like it's such a shame how I've forgotten how I got started listening to Michael Jackson. You know, and then moving forward, I watched a lot of documentaries from Michael Jackson, like how his life carried on. You know, like when he was 7 years old, he got started. Like, it was like, yeah, when I say 7 years old, it's like child labor, but you know, like so much hard work put into this guy. And you know, I just know how his story came about and how he became the person he is until his death. It's quite a journey. Yeah.
Action, Michael.
I love to tour. I don't like to.
Can we just do it again without the negative saying that you don't like the tour? Just 'cause
I don't like it though.
I know, but
I'll make it positive then.
Yeah, it's just don't.
For you know the truth. You guys messed up.
And of course, I listened to the other 80s major songs, 80s pop songs, because I think at this point I was listening to. I didn't get tired of it, but like my but because most of the time when I'm playing the music, my parents are listening to it. Like I just play it out loud. Like, why not? Right? But you know, it got to a point where like they're like, can you stop playing like a virgin? Like too many times. I was playing like a virgin so many times until they're like, could you not? Because we're gonna get to Madonna soon, right? But that was what happened. Like I kept playing it, and then my dad, you know, my mom suggested a change. Like, could you listen to something different instead of playing the same song over and over? I was literally playing the same song over and over again. Like, no joke, okay? And sometimes I would just play back the song and then I will just continue. Like, it's normal. It's normal. And then my dad also mentioned some songs from Top Gun, obviously, Berlin and Kenny Loggins. And also this song from The Greatest American Hero, like, it's comedy, but guess what? It's still an 80s pop song, right? I think I also started to play some songs that my mom was like really shocked to realize that actually I'm into 80s pop. Like one day I think I played Footloose, and then she came in and she's like, how do you know this song? It's so old. And she's like, oh my god, do you like, that is something I played when I was, not she played, but she heard on the radio when she was younger, because obviously you have to pay and rent a DV cassette tapes back then, so she didn't. But on the radio, she listened to it and she said she liked it. And my goodness, it was really a nostalgic wake up call for my mom. And also I played Wake Me Up Before You Go you know, by George Michael, and obviously that was that was really the nostalgic wake up for my mom. Yeah. And shortly after, I realized that my music preferences have shifted from the 2010s to the 80s pop. It was such a, you know, it's such a huge gap between the songs, because like different generation already. It's a total different generation. It's like it's a huge generation gap. But it gets really better after this. Like there are these videos that got really viral at this point, like the top 10 80s songs, or some sort of like compilations of 80s songs. And one of those songs in those videos made me chance by like some of the most, like even before anything was called viral. This is one of the most significant figures in pop culture, fashion, face, and women. It's Madonna, alright? It's Madonna. I listened to Like a Virgin for the first time and it sold me in her music. Like, whoa, when I first started listening to Material Girl, at least I'm not like other Gen Zs where they chance by Madonna or 80s pop, you know, from the show Stranger Things. Like, no offense, like, I mean, nothing wrong with Stranger Things, and not against Stranger Things at all. I think it's a fantastic show, but I mean, I really think that that's not very nice. I mean, I really thank Stranger Things for like the influence of 80s pop, like 80s aesthetics, and the songs, and that's what sold me into the show. Actually, I think I really wanted to watch a bit of Stranger Things. I didn't only watch one episode because, let me tell you, one episode is 2 hours, man. It's 2 hours too long, and you know, but I honestly watch those like short videos on YouTube and compilations. I think that's good enough because I kind of get the story, like how it is like. But I was paying more attention to like the 80s aesthetics, because at this point I was really into 80s pop already. But anyway, I'm just saying like, I think Stranger Things for really influencing 80s pop to Gen Zs, and I'm thanking Gen Zs for like now then, you know, 80s, but I can't force that on them. But it's great that Stranger Things really naturally influenced, and to be honest, the word naturally is very important into shaping one's music preference. 80s Madonna was like my very first celebrity crush.
When I grab my crotch, it just means this is my space. Don't with me, okay?
Have you seen those photos? Like I like, how does she look so cute? Okay, at least the most attractive, fashionable, and gorgeous celebrity I've ever seen. Like, I've seen before. Like she's so unique. Like, you don't see any other 80s, like the Cyndi Lauper and this Belinda Carlisle, but like Madonna is like different. She's really, really different. She really hits the feels of 80s. She just looks she just looks uniquely good. I really like, I don't even know how how that woman became so successful in that. I have no idea, but I really loved it. So you slay, Madonna. And when I say fashionable, like, she was an inventor of 80s women fashion. Like, don't get me wrong, from the curly hair to the accessories, the bracelets, the necklace, the rubber bands, to the outfits, the looks, you know, the tied up hair, and you know, like tank tops. She showed her belly button. Yeah, that really made the shift in, you know, fashion for that generation and the many generations to come, obviously. And then I started listening to Like a Prayer, and whew, Like a Prayer is quite a big one for me, because when I started listening to Like a Prayer, I was really obsessed with each part of the music video, and I was so into the meaning of the music videos because it was just the most controversial. I think it's the most controversial music video as of today, but back then in the 80s it was really controversial, because if you don't know Like a Prayer, like, you really need to read up, and I legit went to read up on Wikipedia of what happened, because I thought it was a really significant event, and a lot of things really happened when Like a Prayer came out and the music video came out, and then the Pepsi collaboration. Did I just a bit too excited. I also listened to like Vogue and Express Yourself from the Blonde Migration Tour. I know it's a bit of 90s already, but guess what? Like, this fabulous 80s artists like Madonna and Michael Jackson, they really live long. And when I mean live long, they do. And then after that, I watched some documentaries about Madonna, like same thing as Michael Jackson, like her life story, where she's like born in an Italian family. She was born in Michigan, and then she lost her mother, sadly. The mother has the same name as her. Quite cute. But yeah, I know, like don't be too specific with me. Like, if you're gonna ask me like who is his first boyfriend, I think his first boyfriend is the one who directed Borderline with her, like Sean Penn. But please don't ask those kind of questions. Like, I just know like a bit of like how her background has formed her, and obviously the most important part of her life was also meeting dance instructor. The instructor is gay, but she, you know, but it really influenced her. So that one I know. Fast forward to 2019, and why 2019 is because Far From Home. So MCU, yeah, I watch MCU movies. All right, okay. Spider-Man Far From Home was it was a great movie, right? And then the beginning of the movie already started to play one of Whitney Houston's like top hits. To be honest, right now, I think that she's like the best singer I've ever heard from. Like, don't get me wrong, Michael Jackson, like all of you are great, but Whitney Houston really hits it. Like, she's got the biggest range of music notes that she can sing, and she can reach the high notes. All right, that's phenomenal. Okay, but at that point, I thought she was a better singer. Like, when I started listening to Whitney Houston, I thought she was like a better singer than Michael Jackson. Like, not that I'm saying Michael Jackson can't sing. Like, they can sing, but Whitney Houston is, in my opinion, right? This is a very personal video, as I say, so don't take it too seriously, okay? But I mean, on some levels, she really is. But I'm not saying Michael Jackson is not a great singer at all. Like, he does, and you know, I've seen so many of Michael Jackson's acapellas.
From sun up to midnight, from sun up to midnight.
I really know that he is a true singer. For Whitney Houston, it started off from I Will Always Love You, and to I Have Nothing, basically the Bodyguard album, like the two hits from the Bodyguard album, the two most popular ones. Not saying every woman is not popular, just saying that I just started off with I Will Always Love You and I Have Nothing, and then moving forward, and when I mean moving forward, it's kind of like moving backwards. But why I say moving forward is because it's 80s pop. I think that music was moving forward when it was going backwards. Like from the 2010s to the 80s, it's kind of like moving forward.
It is evolving, just backwards.
Yeah, I know I'm recording on a rainy day. It's thundery rain outside, so bear with me with the rain, okay? I started to listen to I Wanna Dance With Somebody, where I listened to Whitney Houston album and Whitney album as well. Like, could you imagine like your name being on like the album name? Like it's not, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong, but I haven't seen a Michael Jackson album called Michael Jackson album, you know, like like the first album is just named after you. It's like, wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, nothing against that, okay? That like I love all the songs from the albums. I'm just saying. And obviously, I've seen all of these artists live performances, like Madonna's, okay, Blonde Ambition tour, and then Whitney Houston's one. I've seen the performance, the concert for South Africa. Why is it taken down on YouTube? Why? You tell me, YouTube, you tell me why, okay? Like, why did you remove that? Why did you remove it? Like, I just wanted to watch the entire concert again. I'm sorry about the rain. Like, honestly, all of these artists, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Whitney Houston, they're great. And I'm gonna be honest and tell you this first, okay? And then moving forward, I think now, like 2022. Recently, and probably last year, I think 2022, right? I think I started listening to David Bowie. Like, lots of Bowie music. And I know Bowie music is like 70s, like dominated, but there's also some 80s music. And his album Let's Dance is basically dedicated for the 80s, right? And I think that it really, you know, I resonated with his music a lot. I think I started listening to David Bowie from the Live 8's performance, which is a wonderful performance. Just that, you know, I mean, obviously I also know that the Queen and the David Bowie should actually perform together for Under Pressure, you know, it's kind of a missed opportunity. That I know, okay. Started listening to his song called Heroes from the Live 8 performance. I think it's the best performance for Heroes. Like, it was so rock. Like, I really love the vibes out there. I think I listened to it like a few years ago, not 2022. I think I listened to it once, like a few years back. I think not even once, I think I listened to it quite a lot of times, but it was a few years back. Probably the time I was listening to Madonna. Because Madonna also has some connections with David Bowie, as in she looked up like David Bowie is like an idol of, you know, Madonna, and also my idol, right? Also at that time, when I started listening to Madonna, probably in 2019, 2018, right? 2018, like that. Actually, I asked my history teacher, you know. Long story short, I just know that he's born in the 80s, like he's an 80s kid. And then I asked him, what is his favorite, you know, artist? What is his favorite, you know? So, and you know why I listen, you know, out of all the teachers, why I asked him is because he's also like my CCA teacher. And if you don't know, my CCA was video. I was in the video department, right? And so he is also very invested in the video, like anything video, like movies, documentaries, music videos, and all that kind of productions. And so I was thinking of like, I mean, he's got an artistic side of him. So I just asked him what's his favorite artist, you know, because to be honest, I think he has taste, alright? Because he said his favorite artist is David Bowie. Back then, I don't even know David Bowie. Bruh. I only know David Bowie from Live 8. So I think I listened to Live 8 way before I asked my history teacher about his music preference. So I know David Bowie, but I don't know why is he so, you know, like what kind of songs did my teacher listen to. And that's why I didn't really ask him like what songs did you listen to, because I'm afraid that I don't know, and then it's a bit awkward. But yeah, from there I started listening to David Bowie. Yeah, that's kind of good, right? And I listened to Let's Dance, obviously, some of his notable songs like China Girl. The controversial one as well, very controversial, like one of the most controversial, 80s music video. And the Let's Dance, Modern Love. I love Modern Love a lot. Honestly, this is just my opinion, but I feel like Modern Love should be entitled Let's Dance, because Modern Love sounds more like a dance music. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that's what I think. Then after that, I think I felt more comfortable with 80s, right? So actually, I started from there. Then I listened to his Space Oddity music, Starman, The Gin Genie, Rebel Rebel, Hot Tramp. So yeah, I took my time to listen to David Bowie, and that's how I got so invested with all of these artists. And as of now, the artists that I feel like I'm confident and I think I'm very comfortable, like music preference wise, is with Madonna, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is number one, by the way, because like I say, the turning points in my music preference for 80s, it was done by him. Then Whitney Houston and David Bowie. So these four really stood out. Like they are so iconic. Like don't get me wrong, because David Bowie is literally the most influential artist in British history for the past 50 years. Alright, he's top one in an article. Alright, not even Beatles is up there. Okay. I also listen to Beatles, alright. I like Beatles. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying. But I think for Beatles, I listened to it when I started listening to Bon Jovi. So it was like in 2018 to 2019, I was listening to like more rock music. I thought that my preference was in rock music, but after that, when I started with Michael Jackson, it started to be popular music. And popular music is very vague, but in the 80s pop, if I were to tell you, it's more of R&B soul music. Yeah. So how is it for a Gen Z growing up with a music taste in 80s pop? It's tough. It's really tough because you kind of can't really connect with anybody. Yeah, because everybody especially in my circumference of people, like obviously if you manage to mix around with people who are into 80s pop, good for you. But for me, no. For me, people were into K-pop and the nowadays music, rap music, you name it. And it was hard because it was quite demanding also, because quite a few of my classmates in secondary school, they really wanted to connect with others because you have the same music preference, which is K-pop. Like it means a great deal of friendship. But for me, when I say I was into 80s pop, and then obviously they're questioning, do you like K-pop? And I'm like, I haven't even gotten into K-pop. And then it sucked because they kind of like my classmates kind of rejected me because it's
hell no, man.
because it's not like I'm being ignorant or what. And obviously they are ignorant because they didn't really listen to what I have to say, right? But for me, I know that I didn't feel natural listening to K-pop. Like it didn't came to me naturally. I feel like it's more of a forced, because when you realize that everybody around you is listening to K-pop, and then you're like listening to 80s pop, and obviously in secondary school it was really the time, like teenage, obviously it's a time where things around you really get influential. Like anything really influences you. So yeah, from my experience, it was like all these people who are listening to K-pop and nowadays music, they kind of think I'm old. Like, obviously I'm listening to oldies music. I can't disagree with that, but also they also thought I was weird lah, because kind of like nobody listens to 80s pop. But yeah, I never listened to K-pop. Like I never listened to K-pop. So I felt forced and also really uninviting. It was so toxic because it's like, I say I like 80s pop, right? Why don't you, have a taste of what I listen to, and then maybe you intro me to your songs, But there was never that exchange. It was like, oh, you're old. Why are you listening to old music?
Son of a bitch must pay.
Yeah, until they listen to old music, then they know how good it is. I guess that was what happened. But I would really love to thank the almighty Michael Jackson for really welcoming me into 80s pop and changing my music preference like a total 360. Like, changed my music preference forever. And I think, you know, I can't disagree with that in the next few years. I would recommend anyone listening who wants to get started with 80s pop to like not listen to Michael Jackson songs first, because this is what happens, alright? Because here's the thing, Michael Jackson really makes and sets really high standards for his music. And when you start listening to his music, you think that the other 80s pop music is like, you know, like that was like in my opinion. So when I started off with, luckily I started off with bonjovi. So I actually saw this huge like standard leap. Like it was really high standards listening to Michael Jackson. And if you didn't start off with like the other 80s pop, I think Michael Jackson would just be your only taste and preference. So if you want to give 80s pop in general a chance, listen to the other 80s pop first. Until you think that, I mean, I hope this doesn't happen, unfortunately, but if you think that the other 80s pop doesn't work for you, then start listening to Michael Jackson. Okay, before you quit on 80s pop, please don't keep. I'm just kidding. I'm not forcing, but I'm just saying, you know, like if you want to get started into it and you're keen into knowing 80s pop. And with that said, with all this influence in my head, I am so excited and happy to announce that I will be releasing an album of mine. Woo! But I'm gonna release the songs first before I collate everything into one album. What I'm trying to do now with my music taste in 80s pop is really to make use of what I listen to and try to replicate that into my song and make it my own. Not copying, but replicating and, you know, like influenced. that's the word I'm looking for. But you know, although I have no idea, I don't take any music lessons. I don't know anything about music theory. Obviously, there's YouTube, but like, to be honest, for me, I just, you know, because Michael Jackson has this advice, everything's by Michael Jackson, is the music should come to you, not you should go to the music. So, if I, you know, I do create some form of sounds and music in my head, and I try to replicate that in real life. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, and that's why I don't really, you know, I don't really get started with any music lesson. I'm like, you guys already know I'm in engineering, so nothing. This is, I know that's music engineering, but I'm not into, you know, like I'm not taking any music classes. So I'm just starting this off from scratch. I'm getting used to every instrument. Hopefully, I'm able to know what instruments to use. All of these should come naturally, as Michael Jackson says, like, let the music flow through you. I don't remember what he said, but that's along the lines of let the music touch you and don't mess around the music on your own, you know? So I'm trying to make music. So that's all I have to say, and thank you so much for staying until the end of this video, because this is a really long video. It's personal. It takes a lot of dignity to make this video, because you just feel like you've really stood out of the crowd listening to such unique songs and having such unique preferences. Am I praising myself? Oh yes. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this video because it's a really long recording. Thanks for staying into this video. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell for more videos just like this. Bye bye.